So it's finally the end of March, which means that all the people who keep talking about how Irish they are can finally disappear into the void. But tomorrow is April 1st, which means I'm off to paracetamol, which also means that if I break into your home and force you to listen to Little Pump 2, I could just tell the cops that it was an April Fool's prank. But while I'm still on the meds, I gotta do something semi-reasonable, which means talking about the latest Larry June album, this time collaborating with the Alchemist for a 15-track run of sample beats, simple bars, and me questioning if this is any different than the last Larry June project. Alright, so for this to be the second time I'm running through a Larry June album, I can't really say I feel much different, even after some classic Alchemist production. I mean, I can see why people would rock with his music, seeing that he can dish out some more chill vibes within his delivery, alongside a beat selection that sounds like something you'd hear your cool uncle play in a car. But from my perspective, what I get when listening to Larry June is overly monotone vocals that drag along for 3 minutes, with the occasional singing verse that's just as monotone, while we're also treated to some pretty elementary flowing bars if I say so myself. But for what it's worth, he does get into some pretty interesting topics, such as on the track Ocean Sounds, in which he talks about love and treating a lady nicely, or the final track Margie's Candy House that seems to be him getting a bit more personal, talking about his previous endeavors and how he had to overcome that to become the person he is now, which is cool. Or even when getting into the singing, although the delivery isn't 100% there, at least it helps complement the beat or respective features pretty nicely, such as on the track 89 Earthquake. But for the majority of these tracks, especially the ones that only have Larry June on the vocals, it feels a bit repetitive. Like there's not enough from Larry himself to make him stand out or have anything notable in my opinion, and unfortunately it kind of makes my listening sessions somewhat of a drag to get through. But as for the production, although it wasn't the most wild or interesting in the Alchemist discography, it still had some high notes, especially when looking at the samples that he's taken from, with some of them sounding like something you hear on a GTA 5 radio station, such as the track Solid Plan. But when looking at the samples, you have those little instrumental loops sprinkled about that really complement Larry June and gives the beats a lot more flair, such as the bass guitar and more skeletal 808s on Palisades California, or the piano work on Left No Evidence. But as stated before, this isn't the wildest any Alchemist production work, still seeming pretty cut and dry in terms of sample beats, mainly just allowing the loops to do more work than anything else on this project. But I guess when looking at the current trend of sample production nowadays, it's not like I got the strongest feelings towards it, mainly because of how certain people tend to make it as skeletal as possible and honestly takes away whatever production creativity there could be, such as with the average Griselda beat. I mean, I guess in a way you could say certain sample producers' tricks tend to be showing how eclectic their music taste is rather than actually putting together a more fleshed out beat. And lastly, there were the many features put on this project that I honestly feel were the major highlights, low-key outdoing Larry June by a mile if I had to be honest. I mean, if I had to start somewhere, it would be Big Sean on Palisades, California, with this being the first time he hopped on an Alchemist beat and honestly knocking it out of the park, aside from the annoying natural medicine bars that I could do without, but whatever. But aside from that, he really did slide and made this one of my favorite tracks from the album. But then there was Slum Village on Orange Village, giving us a short yet sweet collection of bars with a smooth flow that was the highlight of the song. And then let's not forget the track Barag and Lightning that had Joey Badass and Currency dishing out some absolutely amazing verses to round out the album and make another top song from the project. And while there were some other notable features on here such as Action Bronson, Wiz Khalifa, and BOLDY James, I feel like they kind of gave me the same feeling that Larry did on their respective tracks, which doesn't really say a lot. But overall, this album was cool, but not cool enough for me, I guess. I mean, I said it before, I could see why people could get into it, but when I went through it, for the majority, it felt more like a chore than something I could fully get into. So to put this on a scale, I'm giving this a high 6 out of 10, being something that could sit on my honorable mentions. But how do you guys feel about the latest Larry June and Alchemist collab? What would you rate it? Let me know in the comments, like and subscribing, follow my IG and Twitter, and follow Chocolate on Instagram for more illustrations. And on that note, I'll see you guys on Monday when I fade from existence. Peace.
Vai, 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 vai.